Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your main man, Six Paths Dunga, back again with another reaction video. And today we're strictly just going to be talking about Chapter 32 because the spoilers are going to drop probably sometime tonight. Maybe, it depends. It depends. It could drop around 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, whatever, you know. All I know is that the spoilers are probably set to drop sometime really late tonight, between the hours of 10 p.m. to like 4 a.m. or something like that. So I just thought I'd come on here to, strictly talk Chapter 32 with y'all, because there's a lot of things I want to talk about, especially since I know it's about to be a big chapter. We got a big fight ahead of us, and Ikemoto likes to go all out with these type of things. So, yeah. First things first though, Sharkname, really good content creator. I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description. So make sure you guys go check him out whenever you have free time or whatever. You know, if you show this video some love, show him some love as well. He deserves it, man. He definitely deserves it. Really working hard. And that's really what it's about, man. Just showing love, giving back to the community. But I'm probably gonna keep this intro relatively short because we might have a lot to talk about. So I don't want to hold it too much time. So without further ado, let's hop into the video.
Chapter 32 was released a few hours ago, and as you saw in the previous video, we've already broken down at least some of the probabilities regarding Damon and Mamushi. But in the next few minutes, let's predict Chapter 32. So yeah, and to predict Chapter 32, it'll probably be the same as usual. I won't speculate too much, especially after the leak of one panel was released. At least these few points will be the main topics in the next few minutes. And to start this prediction, we'll begin with something simple but quite important in representing the entire story in Chapter 32. Yep, and that is the cover. In this prediction, I have 3 characters who have the potential to be on the cover.
I mean, if it didn't already drop by the time this video's dropping, I can 100% assure you that the cover is going to be Damon. I mean, look, besides Damon, the only other person I can see that has any chance of getting a cover might be Code. And that's if he has a potential reason to, interfere in the battle. So I mean, I can't leave that out because a lot of people have been thinking Code could reappear in this chapter. And I think Code definitely has a case to reappear in Chapter 32. Kind of like, just make it harder for them to defeat Mamushi. Because as it stands, I'm not sure if Mamushi can go through with this without any sort of help. You know what I mean? Like, if we're being honest with ourselves, can he go out and defeat Boruto, Damon, Kawaki, all of the characters he needs to defeat to get to Eida? I have major doubts about that. So the community kind of like came up with the conclusion that somebody might interfere with the mission, whether it be Hidari, Code, even if it's a long shot, maybe even Jura. I don't think Jura will be a thing here, but it's very possible. But I don't think so, strictly because they're fighting in Konoha, and he just doesn't like to fight in Konoha. So, yeah. So I say that to say, the only possible people we could probably see in this chapter being the cover is either Damon or Code. That's the only way I see it. I mean, like I said, Hidari has a chance to interfere with the mission as well, other than Code, but we already had a Hidari cover. If you want to make Hidari the cover, you might as well just go Damon because of the potential impact he could have in this chapter. There's no doubt, whatever happens, Damon is going to have the most impact in this chapter. We're going to see him fight, and that's pretty much solidified based off the sneak peek. And did I mention we already had a Hidari cover? I mean, I think I said it just now. I don't know. But yeah, either Damon or Code. That's the 2 I'm going with.
First is Damon, second is Shikamaru, and last is Hidari.
Oh, no, I don't see Shikamaru.
Don't worry, as I said earlier, I have my reasons. The first reason I chose Damon is that I think most fans would agree with me choosing him as the cover because of his role in determining the outcome of this invasion. Especially after the release of the one-panel leak,
pretty much.
Damon's role will be a turning point or an important point in Chapter 32. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? First, Damon must protect Eida. Second, so far, I think he's one of the most interesting cyborgs to discuss. There are even assumptions or comparisons of Damon's strength.
Yeah, I didn't even mention the worst possible outcome from this situation. I mean, the worst possible outcome from this whole thing is Damon getting turned into a Shinju, Mamushi summoning a bunch of claw grimes, Damon getting bit, absorbed into the 10 tails. That's horrible. That's horrible. I mean, even if Eida lives, that would still probably be worse. Like, Damon getting devoured or absorbed would still probably be worse. He probably wouldn't get devoured because he's not one of the targets, but strictly speaking, let's say if Damon gets absorbed by the 10 tails, but they manage to defeat Mamushi, Eida still wouldn't be safe because I guess Damon's Shinju counterpart would probably be Eida. So, I mean, there's a world where that happens. Like, literally, there's a world where that happens. I don't know if I'm like the only content creator saying this, and I'm gonna get up close with y'all when I say this, because I really feel like this is a possibility. Am I 100% confident that Damon's shinjutsu, reflection, or whatever you want to call it, would work on the Claw Grimes, who act mainly off instinct? Probably not. They're strictly mindless creatures. I said it time and time again, Damon Shinjutsu is a cognitive ability. It works off the human's cognitive function. Can you honestly hit somebody without intent behind it? Can you cause somebody any type of harm without intent? No, because it's strictly human nature to have intent behind every action you make. That's why Damon Shinjutsu feels so overpowered, because as humans, it's basically impossible to do so. You can't make any action without any type of intent. Do you know how hard that is? Only real spiritual beings are able to do such a thing. The Claw Grimes, I mean, there's a possibility they can do it. There is a possibility. They're just going around hunting for chakra. Even Boruto said it in, I think, chapter 6. Their main instinct is just to go around hunting anything down. Something along those lines, he said. I'll probably put a little the panel right here up on the screen so you guys can see. And don't mind my nasally talk. I am still kind of sick, so forgive me, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, if that's the case, a Shinju Daemon, that does not sound out of the ordinary, I'm not gonna lie. We gotta be careful for that. And I forgot, he did say Shikamaru as one of the, you know, the chapter covers. Shikamaru falls into the same category as Hidari for me, because like we already seen him as the cover, and not too long ago at that, so I don't think he would be the cover. And I mean, Shikamaru does have impact on the story, especially right now, but his impact does not overwhelm Damon's in the slightest. And I feel like if it's not Damon, it's a bust. Let's just say it like that. So yeah, that's my prediction, whatever you want to call it.
If we briefly look back at the era before the time skip, especially before the anime went on hiatus, there's one moment that I think is worth considering. During the code battle between Kawaki and Boruto, especially after Kawaki had no choice but to use his karma to protect Naruto, at that point Kawaki unleashed a power that I think we can't underestimate. And as you saw, when Kawaki in his horned mode managed to defeat and knock down Borushiki, the interesting point afterward was Kawaki's next target. Yes, it was Code. Using his full potential power, Kawaki unleashed a massive attack to destroy Code. But unfortunately, just when Kawaki was about to succeed, Code pulled out Damon, and Damon reflected that attack back at Kawaki, knocking him down. And perhaps what is quite hard to believe is that Damon, after reflecting such a massive output attack, didn't show any sign of exhaustion or anything like that. Instead, he looked as if he hadn't done anything at all. And once again, that's insane. However, if we return to the case of comparing Jura and Damon, at least that brief flashback can serve as a reference. I mean, if Damon can reflect Kawaki's power in his strongest mode, would the same thing also apply to Jura? Could Damon reflect a Biju bomb unleashed by Jura? If that were the case, could we at this point conclude and equate their levels of power and other aspects?
Okay, let's just say this. Damon Shinjutsu doesn't have a limit on what it can reflect. That's just the properties of the attack. So it doesn't matter the scale of the attack. Whatever is thrown at him can be reflected, no matter how powerful. So say Boruto and Damon were fighting, and Boruto throws a Rasengan at Damon and he reflects it. He's not gonna then counter by throwing a bigger Rasengan at him, hoping it would overpower the reflection Shinjutsu. Now, we already confirmed that Shinjutsu is a phenomenon that cannot be comprehended by mere humans. It's a technique of the gods. So, yes, it can reflect a Biju bomb. It can reflect attacks even stronger than that. Kawaki's Big Blast is no exception. It can even reflect something even stronger than that, you know what I mean? Even stronger than a Biju bomb, whatever. So, I mean, don't forget that when you're scaling Damon. And just based off that, I mean, now we can definitely confirm that no matter what Mamushi throws at Damon, it can be reflected. Even Jura for that matter anyway. No matter what anybody throws at Damon, it will be reflected. So I'm gonna say this again. It doesn't matter about the scale of the attack or how destructive it is. It's the property of the one casting it which has to be changed. And just based on how the brain operates, that's nearly impossible.
The big question that still remains, and one that I personally can't conclude for sure yet, is how someone with power like Damon could still end up with Eida turning into a tree like the one you see here. I mean, at that point, did Damon also lose? I honestly find that a bit hard to believe. But what do you guys think? And the reason for choosing Damon as the cover?
Yeah, That's the question we all have to answer. How did Eida get devoured? And I don't think it has to do with anything like Damon being defeated by Mamushi or something like that. I think they simply got outmaneuvered. You see, it's in Damon's nature to be extremely arrogant while he's fighting. You see, I think of Damon as like a kid that knows he's just overpowered, so he's acting like it. So when you have a kid like Damon who knows he's powerful, nobody can touch him, he's damn near like how they described him, a demon. You're gonna act a little bit arrogant, you're probably gonna let your guard down here or there, you're not gonna stay disciplined as a fighter. And when you're not staying disciplined, it leaves room for you to be outmaneuvered, caught off guard, etc. Not to say Damon was caught off guard, but his whole objective is to protect Eida. So there is a world where Damon just gets carried away, he's having fun, he's in the groove of things, but then Eida gets captured out of the blue without him noticing. Or, you know, like I said, he got caught off guard. He got past the defenses and got to Eida. So that's one possible scenario we have here. Because Mamushi can divide his body. That means there will be multiple targets that Damon will have to focus on. Like Koji said, there's almost no limit to how many he can create. And then at that point, like I said earlier, if Mamushi splits himself over 100,000 times or some crazy astronomical number like that, right? His intelligence drops to a certain level. A level low enough to where he probably wouldn't be affected by Damon's shinjutsu because of his cognitive function. So basically, he would be deduced to merely a claw grime with the power of a Shinju. So if 100,000 of Mamushis are running around and Damon can't reflect their attack, I mean, that's just a cherry on the top, right? And then there's the thing I mentioned with Code, right? If he comes and interferes with the mission, that's two targets they have to worry about, Code and Mamushi. And also, I mean, you have Hidari as a potential candidate to be an interfering member. So if it's not Code, it could be Hidari. And Hidari is stronger than Code, so that's even worse. So there's a lot of ways this battle could go, which leads to Eida being devoured that doesn't result in Damon being defeated. Actually, Mamushi doesn't have to defeat anybody. He doesn't have to beat Boruto, he doesn't have to beat Kawaki. He doesn't have to defeat anybody technically. He only has to get to Eida. As long as he can get to Eida, he'll be fine. Eida is pretty much defenseless. A lot of people think Eida can, you know, whip out some moves, and she probably has basic taijutsu. She even stated she only has basic taijutsu, but that's about it. Other than that, nothing. So yeah, that's my reasoning as to how Eida probably got captured. So that's my reasoning on how Eida was captured, devoured, whatever you want to call it. If you have something that goes against that, or if you agree, just let me know in the comment section. I'm open to all types of opinions and views. It doesn't really matter to me.
One thing that convinces me why it has to be Damon is because I think Chapter 32 will reveal all of his abilities and powers. Most importantly, his weakness. Because so far, his weakness is still speculation that has not been fully confirmed. Yeah, those are at least 2 points about Damon that make me think he is very relevant to be on the cover. Yeah, once again, what do you guys think? Second,
we're gonna learn a lot about
Shikamaru.
Damon.
And the reason I chose Shikamaru is actually quite simple. Besides Damon, who will be the knight in this case to protect Eida, Shikamaru will also be the one to direct and manage the plan, right? Because if we look at the current situation in the village, especially after the growing conflict with the Divine Tree humans, plus he also has to protect Boruto amid Lord Kobu's suspicion of him, this also makes Shikamaru's role remain very important. And it's not impossible that Chapter 32 will also show how Konoha begins to realize that this threat is much more serious than before.
I mean, although that is true, Shikamaru been playing that role since the beginning of the Mamushi invasion arc. He's been playing that role ever since, like, what, Chapter 29? When did it officially start? 28, 29. That's when it started. And he's been orchestrating this whole mission since then. And even if you want to make a case that Shikamaru should be the cover because of his impact in this arc, this chapter that's coming up isn't the peak of that orchestration, or whatever you want to call it, right? So he had much more impact in chapters prior to this. This chapter will probably just be Damon alone. While Mamushi is fighting Damon, you're probably gonna have Boruto and the rest. Everybody that's associated with this mission kind of rushed to Eida's side. But at first, it's going to just be Damon and Mamushi just duking it out. That's what I believe.
The conclusion of why I chose Shikamaru is that even though there are characters like Damon on the front lines tasked with protecting Eida, behind it all, Shikamaru is the mastermind orchestrating the situation.
Yeah, I get that argument.
But Do you agree
I
with
get
me
that.
about choosing Shikamaru? So the third one is Hidari. The reason I'm choosing Hidari might actually be connected to Jura. What I mean is, if in the end, Jura really doesn't intervene, even though the battle is happening in Konoha,
I
then
agree with Hidari,
could
though.
show up to continue his mission. In
I
other
agree with
words, when
Hidari,
Sarada is in her worst condition, because her eyes lose their focus, and many fans even suspect that she might be going blind, the appearance of Hidari could create a new conflict right as Mamushi's situation is coming to an end. So in simple terms, the reason I've become confident about this idea is mainly based on an analysis and the assumption that Jura truly won't intervene.
Exactly. I mean, Hidari has expressed interest in Sarada's Sharingan before. He even stated that Jura told him about it. Jura told him information about the Sharingan that he didn't know. So just based off that, Hidari should be way more excited or anxious to devour Sarada, because it's starting to give him an idea of what he can gain from devouring her. And now that she awoke in the Mangekyo Sharingan, that's even more. Jura probably told him about the MS2, the power he witnessed off of it. I mean, it definitely is need for concern, especially how weak Sarada is right now or how exhausted she might be. Hidari could see it as a prime opportunity to take advantage and, you know, just go devour her or fight them for some reason. I don't know. Maybe to like test her power or something like that. But yeah, Hidari is definitely a prime candidate to invade, and Hidari is strong enough to command some respect. So that means you can't just have Sarada go 1v1 him and just tell her to figure it out. One, she's low on chakra, and two, if Hidari has seen Ohirume from Ryu's point of view, Mamushi's point of view because of the shared vision of the Rinnegan, then it would be safe to say that Hidari has some sort of plan to counter Ohirume or something along those lines. So I would say if Hidari comes, it would have to be someone helping her, maybe Boruto again, along with Mitsuki, Konohamaru, people like that. That would be even more exciting, you know?
Hidari's appearance could also act as a bridge into a new arc if Mamushi really ends up being destroyed and his existence as a Shinju truly comes to an end. Yeah, that's basically how I see it. Oh yeah, besides Daemon, Shikamaru, and Hidari, I actually have other options, namely Code and Delta. But what do you guys think? And which character has the potential to be the cover?
Delta might be a sleeper.
Continuing with my brief prediction for the story.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Delta might actually be a sleeper. Because, I mean, I was going to make a video on her potential impact throughout the series because I do like how her abilities match up with the Shinju. Or when I say match up, strictly counter, I guess, because her eye beams are pretty overpowered. It can negate all types of regeneration power. Like, if they get hit by that beam, that's it. Unless you're literally Jura who can regenerate lost cells because of him being the root. Any other Shinju would have to retreat if they get hit by that, and it can come in handy. I was gonna make a video on that, but I just never got to it. I don't know how good a Delta video would do anyway, but I'm just saying Delta is a sleeper, and she did have some impact last chapter too. We did see her fight for the first time post time skip, so that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Delta being on the cover would be a good thing.
If you pay attention to this panel, especially Sarada's eyes, it gives an indication that looks similar to blindness. But in the final panel, she's actually seen together with Delta, almost as if they're heading toward another location. What I mean is, look at her eyes and compare them. Wasn't Sarada previously in a really bad condition with her eyes? Then how is it that in this panel she seems to have recovered?
I mean, I'm sure this is a reason for concern. I mean, the whole reason Ikemoto is showing us that Sarada is going blind is just to make us aware of that situation. She's just showing signs of blindness. And even if Ohirume already took like a big chunk of her chakra. I mean, so this doesn't mean she simply brushed it off or anything like that. But it's just showing you that the continued use of Ohirume will have a negative impact on her vision. And that's something she should look out for come the future.
But if we look at how Sarada appears with Delta in the final panel, it suggests that Sarada might not actually be completely blind. But still, if we look back at this panel, it doesn't make sense for Sarada to recover in such a short time, right? So I think the prediction about Sarada in chapter 30-32 might reveal another plot twist. Either she gets stopped by Hidari before reaching the location, or she even faints. Yeah, what do you guys think? And next, I know we can't just forget about this, but honestly, it's the same as with Sarada. I'm really curious about Inojin and Koji, especially after Inojin foiled Koji's plan to kill Kobu. I mean, at this point, will Inojin ignore it and not continue with the upcoming operation? But at least to predict the next chapter, Inojin will still complete this operation until it's really over. But the problem is, Inojin won't be the same as before. And of course, I think this could also become an important point, because for some reason, I'm actually suspecting the worst possibility. If Koji truly believes that Inojin has to be sacrificed, especially if it's meant to save Himawari's fate in the future, Koji would probably do it without hesitation. After all, Koji has done something like that before. To support the potential growth of each character's power, he wouldn't hesitate to sacrifice certain people if he believes it's necessary. Because even though it's hard to believe, unfortunately,
there's a possibility.
Koji will do something we never even thought of before. Yeah, that's at least based on my observations and analysis. Then, as a final prediction for Chapter 32, and also as a conclusion, for some reason I'm very sure we'll get a brief flashback. Whether it's about Kawaki's deal with Amado, or maybe even Code again. Yeah, once again it's Code. Because I always predict Code showing up, this might end up being nonsense for the umpteenth time.
I did state that once chapter 32 starts, it could start from Code's point of view. You know, what he's been doing since chapter 15. How does he plan to unalive Boruto and Koji? Things like that. Other than that, it'll probably have something to do with Damon, because we know the impact he's about to have in the story. So a flashback is possible, but I know Ikemoto only likes to do flashbacks after some type of big reveal. There was no big reveal in chapter 31. In fact, a lot of people could have predicted this to happen. So, I mean, just based off that, there probably won't be any flashback, but if there is, it could be Code focused or Damon focused. Those are the only two who I think makes the most sense in this situation. So that's my prediction for that. So that was a good video by Sharkname. A lot of really good predictions in there, a lot of bold ones too. I think chapter 32 has the potential to be a really good chapter, really good, especially because of the fighting, potential information we could learn about Damon, Shinjutsu as a whole, a lot of that necessary information. And I can't wait to see what type of narratives are going to be born. A lot of people are going to see Damon's true power. Are they going to think he's just stupid, overpowered? Is he going to disappoint, leaving people to think he's a fraud? Oh, I just gotta know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think is in store for us for chapter 32. Do you agree with any of the predictions that was said in the video or what I said? And if so, let me know in the comment section down below. And also, if you have your own predictions, let me know in the comment section as well. But yeah, anyway, Sharkname, I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description, so make sure you guys go check him out if you guys want to. And I think that's gonna be it for this video. So, as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And we will be live soon, so make sure you guys hit that noti bell. But anyway, I'll see you boys and girls on my next video. And until then, I'm out. Peace.